Guys, I'm in desperate need of medical help. I had a leftist meme inflicted upon me, and I'm suffering right now. To be fair, it doesn't have a wall of text, so that's the good part. The bad part is that it's difficult to know whether people are just this dumb or they're making memes for people that are dumb. And we're talking about a level of stupidity that even if I'm aware that the mother of retards is always pregnant, it still manages to surprise me. And so this meme shows a government with a lot of people saying the government should be smaller. And then you have less people. And then it's smaller. And then perfect. So obviously this meme is trying to say that this is Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Basically like they're becoming dictators, right? The meme is showing that leftists believe that their bureaucracy is democracy. People used to make fun of that, like when we figured out that this is what the media was saying, we were laughing at it, and we're like, well, we finally exposed them. But no, like it seems that they genuinely do believe that if you want to take a piss and the government asks you to sign 7 consent forms and to have like some experts to figure out whether you can pee from that position or not, they believe that is the democracy. It's fucking insane. Just absolutely wild. At no point is Trump trying to shrink Congress, you fucking morons, because if he did, then yeah, you would have a point. Like if Donald Trump was to say we need to pass legislation or change ways that the number of people in Congress is being shrunk, then you'd have a point. That's not what he is doing. He is shrinking the power of the government. The problem with governments is that all of them, throughout the history of mankind, they are prone to corruption. And what corruption means is that when you have a person inside an institution, instead of doing what the institution is supposed to accomplish, they're actually trying to enrich themselves. They're using the institution to crack down on their political opponents, so on and so forth. So, for instance, let's say you have the ESRB. The purpose of the ESRB is to rate games based on whether they're fit for teenagers, whether they're M for mature or adult only, right? Now imagine if the people from the ESRB board would require that you put pronouns in the game to get the rating that you want. Like, that would be a level of ideological corruption. They're not doing it for money. They're doing it to spread their ideology. If they were to take bribes, right, you have a gaming company that obviously should deserve an M rating, but you're giving them a rating T14 because they're paid, right? Like, that's also a style of corruption where the person enriches themselves. Or maybe they just hate the game developer, right? Like, that too would be corruption. If you have a judge, I think that's an even easier explanation. If you have a person that's a judge and they decide to go easy on a certain ethnicity of people because they share the ethnicity, that's corruption. If he takes bribes or if he is harsher on some individuals because they're of a different ethnicity, that's also corruption, right? And so there are individuals that are above corruption. There are individuals that are honorable, that would not do anything outside of the mandate that they are given. But unfortunately, these individuals are often rare. But they do exist. So yes, it is possible to have human beings that are above corruption, but the problem is that institutions are usually made out of thousands, if not tens of thousands of humans. And statistically speaking, every single institution is going to have some corruption in it. And so if you have a big government and that government reaches into every aspect of your life, including the private one, then that corruption is going to reach into your life as well. Meanwhile, if the government is small, it doesn't really matter if it's corrupt or not, because it's not that influential. And this is what Donald Trump is doing. Secondly, large governments make it very difficult for the private sector. Like, say a new law passes in order to fight pollution, and every single tractor needs to have a filter installed. Well, installing that filter costs money. And then the people that will inspect your tractor and give you a stamp of approval, as well as the inspectors that will do audits and will find the farmers that don't have the filter installed, those also cost cash. So like you need to reallocate taxpayer money in order to feed those people. Now you created like an army of bureaucrats. You created new jobs to do something that normally wouldn't be required. And that's just one regulation. But if the government is large and you have thousands of regulations, well, it becomes really difficult to do farming because you need to comply with all these regulations and it costs more money, right? So therefore, when the farmer sells his product, it will be more expensive. A lot of farmers can actually go out of a business if they can't go on with the regulations, or if they wake up with a fine that cripples them financially. And this is what Elon Musk is actually trying to get rid of with the Department of Government Efficiency. But we can see this with Milei, right? Like we already have an example about this with Milei, who also slashed his government, and he's not a tyrant, right? Like he's not a dictator. He's not like I don't understand how the left can look at, oh, you're kicking off bureaucrats and you become a dictatorship. I mean, the Nazis had a very strong bureaucratic apparatus. The Chinese Communist Party has a very strong bureaucracy as well, right? Like in this situation where you're basically like just having one guy with two armed men, I mean, he would be very easy to topple, right? Like there's no military in this picture. If he's the only thing in the government, then he would be inefficient because no one would be there to enforce his order besides these two guys. This would be like if I was disingenuous and trying to interpret the leftist meme the way they're interpreting the argument. But still, I find it absolutely hilarious that when people accuse them of believing that democracy means bureaucracy, and when they were saying like we need to save our bureaucracy, they were actually serious. Like it wasn't a joke. It wasn't them like trying to misunderstand. No, like they literally believe that democracy is bureaucracy, and you can see this through the memes that they're posting, and the fact that so many people are sharing them unironically. And by the way, the person that made this, if I'm not mistaken, they're a German, which is quite concerning because there can be only two explanations. Number one, the best case scenario, the person making the meme just doesn't understand politics, which is fine, like not everyone needs to understand it. But the second reason is that the person does understand politics, and they're making the meme knowing that the target audience doesn't, which would be concerning because it would mean that so many people are this uneducated about how politics work, and all these people, they get to vote. And they genuinely worship the government. Well, they not only worship the government, they worship bureaucracy. Like they genuinely think that if you slash bureaucracy, you end democracy. It's absolutely insane. Let me know what you guys think, though. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.